What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're recovering after that eclipse. Hope you're feeling energized, optimistic. I'm feeling pumped up there, Cancer. But for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just uplifting, Cancer, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy how yourself has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, wherever, Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old moon. Which I had to get pictures for the eclipse there, Cancer. Could you believe it was cloudy over here? I think I might have mentioned that. But I haven't seen the moon in a minute. I'm sending out a search party. But until we find her, I'll talk about what sign I assume she's in, phase. I know with Cancer. I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, never force reading on situation, everything will be dope, Cancer. Let's jump into it. I'm feeling pumped there, Cancer. Let's just get to this whole thing. Alright, Cancer. Oh, let's get the hourglass started here. You know, I had an original purpose for this, and I've not used it for that yet. It's just for the table. And Cancer, your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy around here, Cancer. And Cancer, happy Mercury Day. Mercury is associated with Wednesdays. This is a great time to really kind of think and process all the energetic information that may have been coming through for you there, Cancer. Or maybe this could be something if the day just sort of just kind of came and went. Maybe that's something to ponder over there too. I feel like nothing to overthink. But I do feel like Mercury days are just great for doing this could be getting caught up on paperwork. This could be great for studying. This could be great for catching up with some friends, whether this be in public, maybe we're having a phone call, or maybe doing some sort of, what do we do now, Cancer? Do we interact over FaceTime? There you go, Cancer, do some FaceTime. I'm with you. You're so hip. And also, Cancer, the moon is going void, of course, so even better time to do some thinking as well there, Cancer. Now, the moon is going void, of course. Oh, look at you. Cancer. Hold on, if you can't see, this eclipse has sent me through the roof. Hold on, Cancer. Absolutely, that's what's going on here. Thank you, higher self. But Cancer, the moon is going to go void, of course, at about 12:19 p.m., and that will be Pacific time. And then she'll be moving from Taurus into Gemini on Thursday, the 11th, actually when I'm getting ready to start my treasure mapping here sooner vision board, on the 11th of April at about 5:58 a.m. So we're looking at about a 17-hour, 39-minute void of course time there, Cancer. And with the void of course, this is an energy when the moon forms her last conversation with a celestial body. Then she just takes a moment and processes the information that comes through, because the moon she's the fastest celestial body in our solar system. And this can be where I feel like, especially if you have Cancer in your, honestly, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or wherever you happen. If you have Cancer in a personal planet, I feel Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter on down, a little less. But, I mean, tune into the moon there, Cancer. Because the moon, when you think about how short her aspects are with a planet, on the outside surface, it may not seem that noticeable, but the moon asks us to tune inward. She asks us to check in and see how we are absorbing the energies. Maybe we're not feeling anything at all. Maybe there's some things we're not sure why we're feeling. Maybe we're feeling a little bit more than we thought, but the void, of course, is to get an understanding of the emotions that are coming through you, and just to really kind of help process, because Cancerian energy is one that is very susceptible to the nuances of this journey, and we feel things at a very deep capacity, and there's wherever you happen to have that Cancerian energy. And the thing too, Cancer, when you're thinking about, when you're noticing like the emotions of others, there are things that you may pick up on people, but we want to be mindful too about projecting your emotions onto others as well, because a lot of the, well, I don't want to say a lot of the times, but there's sometimes I feel when we're sensing something in others, that is, there's something that we're sensing in ourselves as well. So I feel like just something, I feel like to really, I feel the void, of course, really promotes this emotional wisdom, because the luminaries don't, the sun and the moon don't go retrograde. The sun, the sun is shining all the time, only when we happen to have an eclipse. And the moon, this is her kind of retrograde time. So, where all the other planets and all the other zodiac signs get a break, you get a break too, Cancer. If anything, we get more breaks than any of the other zodiacs. So utilize that energy to your advantage. Allow that to be a time where you go within, do some self-care. Take that Cancerian energy that you normally channel outward and channel that more inwardly. And the moon is about our emotional needs as well. We need to take care of ourselves on a day-to-day, Cancer. So something very important to pay attention to. And this is something, Cancer, if you are curious how, because this is where I love working with my lunar return chart. And I actually have a really cool thing, I think a really neat idea that I'm going to start here soon, Cancer. And, well, I'll just tell you, I'm going to start sharing my lunar returns. And just so you can get an idea, because it's one thing to talk about the energies, but I think this is something that I'll start doing maybe as a live stream. I'm getting the dates figured out. But yeah, I think this is something where I'll start maybe doing my chart, and then I'll expand to, if people want to volunteer their lunar return charts, and we could do something to kind of walk through and see the themes that are coming on. If that's something that resonates with you, want to learn more about that, just in more of a one-on-one type of thing, book a reading with me there, Cancer. I have links down in the description box and also on my Instagram bio, and I'm actually going to get ready to, I'm getting to work there, Cancer, because I have, just to give you a little snapshot, where my lunar return is going to be next month. And the lunar return, Cancer, because this is important for those of you who have Cancer placements, if you tuning into the moon, the lunar return is great for a month. This is to get an emotional forecast for you for the month, which is fantastic. My recent one that just came through, my moon was in the 8th house, and I had a pretty intense emotional month. And a lot of things came up for me. It started up around, I noticed it around the first quarter phase, where there were some difficulties coming through. And it's just where certain needs were being fulfilled. My moon is in the 10th house in Gemini. And there's this, I'm very aware of how people see me, and and that's something that I've had to work on, as far as being, people's opinions matter to me and how I come across, and sometimes a little too much. So it's something I'm working on. But how, it's a tricky one. There's a number of factors that are coming into this, but there has been things that I've needed to face, that I've needed to change, where I've realized this, but now it was like, it really was in my face. I didn't feel like I was 100% on my path like I wanted to. And that 8th house really brought up some kind of deep stuff there. And my sun was in the 6th house, so that meant things where my focus was changing, my routines are changing, how I'm fulfilling my needs are changing. It's really wild, even if you don't understand it when you first get to it, even seeing towards the end of it, and then you get more tuned into that. So this is just something, again, if you know any ways to get more in the flow of your energies, really can be very supportive for you there, Cancer. Even when we're talking about, we can do something as simple as maybe monthly returns, or we could do something like yearly returns as well, when we're talking about these things. So again, if that's something that resonates with you, definitely check that information out there. But also, Cancer, we are in a waxing crescent moon in Taurus. And another thing too to kind of pay attention to, even if you don't get as complex as learning maybe like your lunar returns, just understanding where you're at let's say, for example, if you have your moon in Taurus, your easier emotional times may be when the moon's in Cancer or when the moon's in Pisces. But then when the moon gets in Leo and gets in Aquarius, there may be some tougher times there because those are squares. And then when the moon's in Scorpio, that's opposition. So this, again, even if you don't understand like this, or if you don't, if it's a lot to process, because I get it, Cancer, there's a lot to think about this stuff. And if this is a lot to process, just even thinking on that level, like, okay, it's around this time, I may need to take better care of myself here, tend more to my needs during this time. And this time I'm feeling the emotions are a bit easier. So again, just as you tune into these nuances, it's like the moon is imprinting, the soul is imprinting on the ego. So you tune into that, Cancer, magical things can happen with that moon. But with this waxing crescent phase moon in Taurus, I feel that this is because Taurus, the moon still was in that new super moon energy when she first entered into Taurus. And I feel that this moon is taking that energy from the eclipse and asking you, where do you want to take that forward? If there were some things that this eclipse brought up in you, as far as maybe this could, because the moon now being in Taurus is starting to question, what do I value? What do I want to invest in? Where do I want to build? And do I feel confident in myself building that? Do I feel that I deserve to build that? Or is this something where maybe it could be a number of things, but I feel that this I feel like it's almost, because I feel this eclipse, it's a feeling that was the energies, when this energy was coming through. How do I want to describe this, Cancer? When someone was messaging me the other day, I didn't get to see a clear view like I was mentioning, but they had sent me a picture of their vision of the eclipse, and the way they described it was very beautiful. It was just like they described it as just like when the moon was over it, it was like this. It almost seemed like the sun was like there was glitter, and when I was picturing what he was describing, it was like shining like this diamond, this luminescence. I was picturing almost like there's treasure behind the moon, is what I was feeling with this. And there's this, now that we're starting to see the light of that moon, I feel like it's keeping that excitement, Cancer. How to keep that sustainable, how to keep, even when we're not maybe sure what new foundation we're getting ready to build on, I feel like it's trusting that there is going to be something that's going to be provided, that is going to be, but I feel like a part of that is trusting in yourself that you're going to be ready for this change, whatever it's looking like, whatever intuitively comes to you. It may be something that happens maybe drastically, maybe something that happens subtly, but I feel like it's tuning into that and knowing that change is coming. And it's not something that I feel like it's necessarily the need to be afraid of, because Taurus does struggle sometimes, I feel, when it doesn't when it feels when that energy of self-worth is down and the self-esteem is low, then Taurus will stay stuck. They'll stay rooted, and they'll think that even if the situation isn't what they've wanted, it's safe, it's understandable. I at least know how to work in this suck, as opposed to giving it a chance. I'm not saying that things suck, Cancer, but if they do, then instead this gives you a chance to get out and try something different. And who knows, you may fumble a little bit getting started off, but that's the process, when we're starting something new, when we're growing something. I like to think, when it comes to working real effectively with Taurus energy, I'd like to think of Taurus as like the farmers. They're ones that are in tune with the seasons, and farmers know that this land, they're not sure, if I tend to this, I cater to this, I care for it, I love it, I give it my energy, this land is going to pay me back with the abundance. And even before the abundance is there, they're putting all of that faith into that, and tilling and weeding and cultivating. So that's what I feel this crescent energy is like, a build-up that's happening. This is the planning phase right now. The waxing energies, things are starting to come alive there, Cancer. So If you've been really, if you've been worried about this energy and things have been tough, believe me, Cancer, we're all collectively feeling this. But the nice thing is to, when we're working with this stuff individually and then tuning in collectively, because it's a I don't just pay attention to what's just going on with me in my chart. I have to see what is going on with, because that's affecting me, and how I'm working on me is affecting the world. So, I feel that, I don't know, there's something here. I don't know yet. And that's something too. I was just listening to this thing, and it was so, if I wasn't paying attention, I could have just missed it. But if for some reason it stuck out to me, and I didn't even hear the video clearly, but I did hear this part where this person is just like adding "yet" to a sentence. It still implies that there's uncertainty, but it also implies that there is a way out. That there's another side of this. That, in Cancer, that's going to be perfect with where this energy is at. So, last few things. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings. So apply these energies to the people as they make sense for your situations. And then I have information down in the description box with the readers that I really enjoy watching, decks that I enjoy working with, and then other resources, astrological resources and websites that I think, if that's something where you're curious about, Cancer, whether this is just working with it in your personal life or making this maybe something that you do more professionally, working with these tools and things. Absolutely, Cancer. Check that stuff out. Avail yourself of these things. So, but Cancer, let's get into your general energy today, because check this out. It's the same thing as the back. You'd have thought, like, oh, you never flipped over the card. But Cancer, you got the Pegasus card here, which is transcending. And that's what I feel is happening. There is a transcendence that is happening. Not just I feel individually, but I feel collectively as well. And I feel a real big player in this has been this Neptune energy that we've been in since Neptune has been in Pisces over these last 13 years or so. And I feel that we are collectively, and now, especially with Pluto being in Aquarius, Pluto represents power. This is going after what we want. This is, and I feel like it's there. Of course, there's a shadow side to every sign, of course. But I feel that if we're raising the vibration, when we're raising the vibration, this is us getting our collective power back. This is, because I even feel it, Cancer, when I'm just like out and about, people seem just more approachable, more friendly. I feel that there's this people you wouldn't even expect. I saw this and this is very fascinating. I remember seeing three of the most, I could have picked them out of three different countries. That's how if you looked on the outside, how they looked. And they were having this conversation on the bus and just talking like they were the best of friends. And it was the coolest kind of experience. I was loving this. And that's what's happening right now. But it is remembering, though, it's an interesting dance I feel like we're in right now, because we do have our individual work that we have to do. Then we don't have to do it. That we're invited to do. But I do feel like it is remembering that it's not just about you. With this Pluto energy, we have to do this as a team. There are certain things that you bring and certain things that I bring that can help us all raise together. Because with this journey, we're all connected, when we're thinking about this energetically. So no one person is just going to transcend this. You're not just going to be the only one riding on you. You can fly on your Pegasus for a while there, Cancer, but the rest of us need to find our Pegasus too. And I feel like it's not using this Pegasus to run, but it's using this Pegasus to lead, to show that, like, hey, look at my winged horse and look at how I'm flowing with the energy. Do you want to feel in that flow? And this doesn't mean that you have to be doing astrology or you have to do tarot, but it's just like sinking in with your needs, what your body wants, what you're meant to do, what you're meant to create. I'm loving this, Cancer. Let's get some tarot on this, because I feel like this is building up the things that matter. You know, and think about this, Cancer, when we're thinking about Taurus, because Taurus is what we value, what we put a lot of stock in. But it is remembering, Taurus can be so rooted. It's literally the earth. And sometimes I feel with Taurus, we need to remember that we can't take any of this with us. So where we actually, it's not to say that we can't enjoy the things that this earth provides. That's not even what I'm saying. But it's just like, how are we adding more value? We're not just here to just consume and dip. We're meant to build more on this stuff here, Cancer. But let's get some tarot on this and let's transcend. let's do it, Cancer. I'm with it if you're with it. And look at that. What a great card to start with, Cancer. Isn't that a beautiful thought? And I don't feel like it just has to remain a thought. I feel like it's something that we can make manifest with this energy. You know, Aries, I feel like it's been a lot of excitement that is going to be building up, and then Taurus is going to be a break, but it's going to be where we're kind of processing and starting to build. And then because we have a lot of stellium energy that's happening. Oh, I love that. And we have a lot of stellium energy that's happening right now with going from Pisces and then moving into Aries, and because we have like 6 things of Aries, and then we're gonna have a bunch of Taurus, and then we're gonna have a bunch of Gemini, and so there's gonna be heavy concentration, but it's kind of nice because now we have like a focus here, Cancer. It's gonna be fantastic. Speaking of, let's get into this energy, Cancer, because you have the Ace of Swords, the Magus, the Six of Wands, the Princess of Wands, and the Nine of Swords here, Cancer. And I love the Princess of Wands. This is great energy. This is eclipse energy. Yeah, girl, you're bringing it. The Princess of Wands is the princesses are pages in this deck, and the pages to me, they're youthful energy. So this to me, the Princess of Wands is that childlike enthusiasm. You know, that anything is possible, Cancer. The Magus card is manifestation. This is taking your thoughts, Ace of Swords, and making them real and feeling victorious in that, Cancer, and not just in what you've created. This is not just you, I feel. Oh, excuse me, this is a Seven of Wands. Well, because you know what, Cancer, I'm trying to get to your Six of Wands here. But in order to get to that Six of Wands, I feel that we do have to get out of our way with the Seven of Wands. This is even more appropriate. The Seven of Wands, but I like to talk about this. The Six of Wands is behind this deck. It looks exactly like the Six of Wands card, other than the background. But the Seven of Wands can be this card of criticisms, a card of needing to protect your energy. And I feel like that can be from the thoughts that may come through here, Cancer, with this Nine of Swords being here. This is Mars and Gemini, and our thoughts affect our actions. What we perceive is what's going to be real. And I feel that this is a time to be mindful of that, because the Nine of Swords is tough. This is nightmarish type of energies. This is anxieties. These are fears. These are worries. These are obligations. And those things can mess up with our manifestation, Cancer. And I feel like it can mess with your mind, because then we start to lose that, like, how can we manifest when there is Nine of Swords on the mind? And that's where I feel the Seven of Wands is coming in, where this can be a very critical energy. It's learning to protect our energies in that, from this criticisms, from whether this be criticisms that you tell yourself, maybe you're bringing yourself down, maybe there are bills, worries, things that we are concerned about. We have these ideas, but maybe you're not sure how to manifest. I feel that with Aries, where there's a will, there's a way. And I know how hackneyed that may sound, but it is true, Cancer. And I feel that it is when we get in those spirals. I'm not saying, listen, I know I have a lot of optimism. Jupiter's conjunct my ascendant. I try to help it, but not really. Especially now, definitely not. I'm like on 20. But it is acknowledging where we're not ignoring the Nine of Swords. those fears and obligations, they're there, but that doesn't mean they're going to be there forever. And I feel that sometimes the trickiness with the Nine of Swords and the mind is that we can tell ourselves something is going to be worse and that it's going to be this. But then I feel the Magus card kind of invites, and with the Princess of Wands, and kind of invites the opposite, where and something to counteract that. Because I feel that where acknowledging the negative is appropriate and necessary, we need to, are we just going to put a big fat period on that and let that ground, or can we say like, okay, yes, all this stuff is happening and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I do see how you, power of yet that might actually be the title of this. And I may not know what I'm going to do yet, but I know I can do it because I've been in tough situations like this before. I've done this. Mars and Gemini, I'm almost feeling like that could be like a deja vu type of energy where you're, and not even that, like you've not necessarily like this necessarily the same exact situation has happened or like a Groundhog Day, but it's more so that it's like it is a remembering that like, oh right, I have been in tough times. It may not have looked like this, but I was at a different place then. Now that I've transcended, now that I've leveled up, of course my problems and things have gotten challenges have gotten a little bit harder, but now I have more tools to work with, more tools to utilize here, Cancer. So I feel that this is an energy with where we're at right now. This is a thing where I understand where times are tough. Where some people are, a lot of us are trying to get this thing, get this energy figured out, with where prices are, to where just all types of stuff with employment and all sorts of things. In Cancer, we got a lot of, we just got through this one conjunction, but we got another really big one happening with Big Papa and Uranus coming up here in another couple of weeks, in about 10 days, depending on when you're watching this. So I feel that that's going to be, and that's where my hope is going in, Cancer. I feel that, and I am going to talk about that a bit more next week, in next week's Wednesday's video, but I do feel that there is staying hopeful, Cancer. The solutions will come. Ace of Swords, it's like this inspiration it's going to come out of, it feels like this intuitive nudge, Cancer. You're just like, certain thoughts are going to come up as far as like, I don't feel like necessarily like, not like invasive thought, intuitive. Thank you, higher self. More so intuitive, sort of like nudges there when you're just like, you'll see, for example, I was just talking with a friend about them doing like some writing and like poetry or something like that. And then I happened to see on the bus where there was something about poetry. And so I took a picture of it. Little signs like that. And that actually reminds me, I need to send that to them. But well, first I got to make sure it's not just from my area, but just something to, even another idea to think about. It'll be things like that. You'll get messages from friends. You'll get like, pay attention to those type of things and see where those energies guide you. Knight of Wands, because now we're cooking, Cancer. Fortune. So Cancer, you have the, you have the Fortune card, Big Papa, Jupiter, our lovely ruler here, the Priestess, the Moon, Libra's here, the Justice card, Pluto's here, because higher self has got your back. All these majors, Cancer, higher self's cooking up something hot, and look at you riding in hot, Knight of Wands, because the Knight of Wands has big energy. And that's where I feel like we're right now, Cancer. I feel that things are changing with this Pluto and with this Pluto. Well, the Judgment card is Pluto, the Eon card, but the Eon card is a card of resurrection, a card of transcendence. But I feel that the Eon card, in order to get to that completion, in order to get to that abundance, there's some things that need to be faced. Pluto is about our fears. While we're talking about that and being in Aries, this is about trusting. Aries, I feel that, even just really thinking about it, we'll talk about kind of like Pisces and like water signs that are really intuitive. Aries is really intuitive. Because there's Aries is instinct or intuition in action. You know, they really, it's a fascinating energy. It's a powerful energy. There's a reason that it starts off the zodiac cycle there, Cancer, and there's a reason too, because it forms, us both being cardinals, that it forms a square with our sign, and it's maybe difficult to initiate like Aries when, you know, if your sun signs in Cancer, wherever you happen to have Cancer. This has been a bit of a tough one for us, but it has required us to, I feel, face more emotions, to get into that feeling space, to learn to balance out, to adjust to the energies here, with the adjustment card being here, Cancer. And I feel like we're in a time where, in order to really, and I don't feel like in order, I feel like an effective way to navigate this honestly, this lunar cycle and this zodiac year, I feel, is intuition is playing a big key into this. Trusting in something, Jupiter, bigger than yourself, something bigger than what our everyday mind, Mercury, can handle here, Cancer. It's going to bring up a lot of emotions, Moon, but it's going to bring up a lot of change, Pluto. So I love how your energies here are, it's a very supportive energy here. It's one of abundance, it's one of creativity, manifestation, it's one of deeper knowing here with the Priestess. And it's getting rooted in that, Cancer, but I do feel that things aren't going to feel stuck forever, Cancer, if you've been in a cycle. And I feel that Taurus invites us to look at the abundance that we do have right now and let that be, let nature be a motivator, that even through, and that's interesting. And we'll get some advice from Venus. But I feel like nature, you know, when nature goes through a tough time, the environment changes, earthquakes, death card, you know, things die, things come back to life. You know, it's a cycle, Cancer. And I feel that this is a time where we have to take, Cancer, your stories are writing out here. Higher self is telling a very powerful message here. You got Death card. We have the Emperor. Let's see what else we got. Cancer. We have a lot of majors here, Cancer, and that's why I'm saying I'm so excited, because you have the Emperor, the Death card, the Devil, and the Queen of Disc here. And let's switch back over, because look at the Queen of Disc. She's got a barren field here. Maybe something just happened and her whole field has been wiped out. And that sucks. But the beautiful part about that is she's got new land to work with. Things die, things change. But it's not just focusing on the fact that something has been lost. It is space has been made for something new to come through, Cancer. And here's Aries. And I feel that the Emperor here is us. This is one where I feel like we not just as individual, well, I think it's almost synonymous what I'm about to say, but not as individuals, but as collectively are needing to take charge. This is not necessarily looking for an emperor to save us, because that's how I kind of feel Neptune in Aries could translate as. And I know this is a couple years out, but we're going to get a taste of it next year when she first enters into there. It's going to be a lot of outer planets moving in and moving out. And just to give like an indicator of just like a fresher, what's the word I'm looking for? To let us know what energies are coming. And I feel that this is something where we're going to need to learn to be our own heroes. But in learning to take care of ourselves, then we can be there. Because it's like, how can we expect to save others when we can't, if we don't know how to take care of ourselves first? It's like that. This Emperor is giving me like that on, like when you're on an airplane. Put your mask on before you help someone else. Because what use is that going to do? But this is a thing here too, Cancer. The Devil is the devil is responsibilities. The devil's not just this energy of, it can be a card of toxicity and things, but those are distractions. Those are things that keep us from our goal. Capricorn, the devil, is about, their energy is one of finding what they want, who they are, and it requires, some of that energy requires solitude when you're transcending, when you're figuring out what you are. And then when we move from that Capricorn, just like Pluto did, from Capricorn to Aquarius, it's like now we're taking that inward power that we've developed, that self, that inner security, Taurus, and now we're putting that outward. But I feel this devil here is saying that this is they're going to be some old habits that are going to want to come through there, Cancer, that are going to want to keep you in that safe space. And again, that's fine. But I feel that Uranus and Taurus has been redefining safety. And really, Cancer, there's fixed safety, I feel, is an illusion. Adaptable safety is something that I feel is adapting to the changes is how I hope that makes sense. I feel that was kind of interesting thought that I'm working out there, but and again, it's not to say that you're not safe, Cancer, but it is understand. I feel it's figuring out how to feel safe here, because Taurus is about finding that inner peace. And we may need to learn some things. Queen of Disc is one too, that she's resourceful, and that includes too when she needs help. She's one where she will call on a Knight of Wands when she may need a little inspiration. Or maybe the Princess of Wands when she just need a reminder that she just needs to have some fun. But people call on the Queen of Disc too, because the Queen of Disc knows how to get stuff building, knows how to set goals, knows how to be focused. So it all kind of comes into play here. But I could spend all day in this energy, Cancer, talking about transcendence and whatnots, but that's my jam, being that all my stuff's in, I got a lot of stuff in the 12th house. But I think I'm going to leave that there, Cancer. A little something to meditate on. We got a whole lunar cycle to talk about this. But if anything resonated with you, Cancer, if you like that, give it a thumbs up. And share this, Cancer, because this is something that, again, collectively, things are changing in a lovely way. And I do feel that there's going to be, where the energies, yes, it's big stuff that's happening, but I feel like, just again, this is not a time where we are in a time of the collective, because we're still kind of establishing what that means. That doesn't, be mindful of being caught up in the collective wave. Take what resonates with you. I was talking with my partner the other day, and we were looking, I kept hearing this word bagua, and we were looking at that, and getting into the feng shui and how that may translate. And we were messing around with it for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and worry about what direction that I'm facing when the planets are doing everything above. It's like, sometimes you don't have to take on it. Where the Gemini moon in me could eat all that up, I have to remember, no, this doesn't resonate yet. It may not resonate. The same thing happened with when I really was cooking up stuff. I was looking at human design, numerology, and all those stuff they're very valid. There's stuff I do have interest in, but it's just not there yet. It's not strong. It's not in my orbit. The moon's in my orbit. Neptune's in my orbit. Pluto's in my orbit. The planets are. So that's a thing too. With everything, with this transcendence, everyone's gonna have a feeling about it. So tune into what makes sense to you and how your individual process is going. And then once you process that, then we adjust to the collective, but we have to know who we are first. And that's what I feel this devil kind of was going through. I'm getting back in this for a second. This devil is giving me this, I feel like people have always kind of told us what to do, but it's just what do you want to do? And then in this, let spirit help, let Pegasus help you transcend to that, Cancer, and then hit that bell button, you fortunate high priestess, abundant. Hit that bell button, get notified. Well, you don't even need the bell button, you're intuitive, but just in case you got other things you're intuiting. And then, last few things, Cancer. Again, if that's, take it as it resonates. Astrology is one for me where I've come from. I have like my son's in the 12th house. I got caught up in a lot of 12th house, and Neptune is opposed to my son, and it's my tightest aspect after Saturn is forming a square with one of my major aspects, my midheaven. So, it used to be where the idea of responsibility and working toward like who I was. I didn't really know. I had an idea of who I was like right around or what I maybe wanted to do maybe high school, and then somewhere that got lost, and then Neptune stuff came in, and then I got lost in the escapism for a long time, and it was I'd have little random pockets of these creativity. I remember writing a whole album once, and when I listened back to it later, having done some work, it was just a big old cry for help. But the awareness wasn't there. And this is something that astrology has brought awareness, to how I was working with my energies. I was looking at my chart and I thought, if I had stayed, because I could notice some, I still kind of shake off some devil moments, but I looked at was thinking about my chart and I thought, man, I'm happy where I'm at now, and I'm happy for that place, what that has taught me, because, that would have kind of sucked if all this Leo would have not been seen. It would have just been the party animal, and that was it. So, this gives you a chance to not tell me, astrology doesn't define me. It gives me a chance to be inquisitive. What happens with, I have this, I can walk in this Leo energy that does have support of Jupiter, this Leo rising. How does that look? How can I make it bigger, make it bigger and work for me? How does that tune in with my emotions, since, my rising is tuned to my sun in Cancer. So it's like my emotions play a lot to how my Leo placements light up. So it's like it's understanding all of that stuff. And when I'm not in the mood, it is hard to bring up. But can I find it? Always. Like always. Even at my lowest, I would always tell people I was a low-key optimist. So it was just like, now I'm just a high-key optimist. So, and maybe, this is just as you learn these cool things about yourself, Cancer. It's really cool. And it just gives you a chance to just ask, and you form these different bonds, get in different flow. So again, if that's something that's resonating with you, book a reading with me. I have all that information down in the description box on YouTube, and I'm gonna have it on my Facebook page as well. I'm working. I told you I'm getting ready to get busy here, and I'm working with someone who's tech savvy, and they're helping me get my stuff together. I told you, Kids, I took a whole course. We're transcending, and this is what astrology does. It gets you asking questions and going down paths you never thought you could. So. And then after you get done, here's another path you can go down there. Cancer, go to my other channel, Alchemist 8, because I do talk about the astrological weather, and that's more kind of for collectively. And that's something too, Cancer. It's nice to, where the charts deal with us, again, the planets are talking to us individually. They're also talking to us collectively. So this is nice to know where the collective is kind of at. What are some things to expect? Maybe they're feeling a little more excited. Maybe Suns in Sag are feeling more uplifted. Suns in Scorpio, watch out. Mercury is retrograde. So tuning into these things can be really cool. So if you have something I go over all that stuff, Cancer, on that channel, and all that housekeeping, it's down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, Cancer. Ooh, I love this. So I can get you out of here. And you have the Princess of Cups here, Cancer. And with the Princess of Cups, that's interesting. The Princess of Cups is giving me for some. Be mindful. I feel like, where sometimes we can have, and this is something, for example, I'm trying to be mindful of, where I do know that my energy can be a lot. When I get into like super enthusiastic and things, or just honestly, sometimes energy could just be a lot in general. But it is remembering how I feel, when we're in this excited energy, or when we're in this nervous energy, or when we're in this fearful energy, or when we're saying, of how we can pass that along to others. The Princess of Cups is one that again, the princesses are youthful. So there is this naivety to them that I feel is going on here. They're still learning how to be responsible with their, the Princess of Wands hasn't gotten to that wise state of the Knight of Wands, and she's still learning herself, still growing, still this, not to say the Knight of Wands doesn't make mistakes, but it's more focused now, where I feel the Princess of Cups in this early stage, Cancer, there could be a lot of wanting to maybe not necessarily force things on people, but we just want to be mindful of what resonates with you may not resonate with others. And that's something I have to be again, like I say, I try to be mindful of, and that's that I've learned, when I talk about astrology, I ask, is it okay that I talk about this, for example, or if, this is what I've been feeling, what's been your reality? And then let's understand this juxtaposition, and I say all of this. This is happening to, it's interesting that this eclipse happened when, and I'll get your other oracle card here, when Mars and Saturn were in conjunction, because there's a responsibility that is, oh, you're kidding. There's a responsibility that, thank you, higher self, that is happening with this. Hold on, kids, there's a lot going on here. But there's a responsibility that we have with this energy, both individually and as collectively. It's... I feel there are new parts of ourselves that are about to be just discovered here, and new ways of operating it. Again, we just want to be mindful of that, because Cancer, growth is guaranteed. Because you got the Bat Spirit card here, which is birth is assured, or a rebirth is assured. And this is the 5th card, which is Hierophant, Taurus energy. I love that. But what I also love about this, I got 2 things from this, Cancer, and then we'll wrap up here. This rebirth is giving me one, we hear, especially when you got like the Death card with the Eon card, that is radical change. That's big change. I don't want to say radical, but it's big change. And sometimes we don't want that. Like some people, like, I've had enough change, but... And I feel like that is fair. And that's where I say if that's where you're resonating at in this energy, then it may be time to see where we can take more of a break, because this energy probably has been affecting you more than maybe you thought, or whatever that may be. But it may be just, and I know we have things to worry about. We're thinking about this, we're thinking about that. But if we don't take care of this vessel, especially with us being in Aries season, and honestly even going into Taurus season, both are very focused on, where Aries is more kind of body focused. Taurus is bodies, but it's more senses, it's more feeling, it's more receptivity. But we got to pay attention to our needs too. And if we're feeling stressed, like overly stressed, if we're feeling this fear, we're feeling this stuff, sit with that and asking, how is this changing us? Why is this changing me so much? Why am I feeling so resistant to this change? These tough times are meant for questioning. Believe me, when the nice thing, I was telling someone when I was talking about my Neptune transit, or my Neptune aspect, that's something I have with me this duration of this journey. That doesn't change. I'm always at odds with Neptune, and I have to constantly work on that. Whereas sometimes where people are going through, I know someone who's going through a Neptune transit right now, and it's kind of throwing them off. But I was just like, I have empathy for it, because I deal with that all the time. And that's where it's just like, let me tell you, it gets easier. It is tricky. It's Neptune, it's mystery. It's all this intuition. You got to trust the gut, but it's, again, change is happening, Cancer. And I feel it's going to be one of those things. It's going to happen whether we're aware of it or not. But I do feel that you can ignore it and this is not meant to be like a sound ominous or anything like that. But I feel that change, you always notice when you change, Cancer. But I feel like it's something where we can walk hand in hand with it, or we can let it surprise us. So I am a leader there, Cancer, but be mindful out there. Stay aware, Cancer. Keep eyes on the moon and feel that energy out there. Tune into that lunar energy, Cancer, and I will catch you. Kept for a beefy time here, Cancer. On the next one tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to talk with you tomorrow.